The crystal chandelier above cast fractured light across the marble floor. Sofia's knees buckled as she reached for the wall, her vision swimming. The voices of the men in tailored suits blurred into white noise. Her throat burned like sandpaper. "Water," she whispered, her accent thick with desperation. "Please, just water." The laughter started low and spread through the room like wildfire. One of the men, tall, sharp-featured, impossibly handsome in his charcoal suit, threw his head back. His amusement was cruel, dismissive. Just another desperate woman. Just another nobody. Then she lifted her face. The laughter died in his throat. The glass in his hand shattered against the floor. Because Dante Moretti had seen a ghost. And ghosts weren't supposed to have the same scar above their left eyebrow. The same one he'd watched form 20 years ago when they were children running through burning streets. Sofia Martinez was supposed to be dead. This is a story that will grip you from beginning to end. If you want to know how everything started and where this is going, subscribe to the channel and leave in the comments where you're watching from. Every view counts. Sofia's fingers ached as she pushed the cleaning cart down the hallway of the Moretti Grand Hotel. 3 years in New York, and this was the closest she'd come to the life she'd left behind. The carpet beneath her feet probably cost more than everything she owned. Her shift started at 5 a.m. It would end at 2 p.m. Then she'd take the subway to her second job at the diner. Then home to her cramped studio apartment where the heater barely worked and the walls were so thin she could hear her neighbors breathing. This was survival. This was the American dream for someone like her. Invisible, undocumented, desperate. "Room 47 needs fresh towels," her supervisor barked, barely looking at her. "Private event tonight. Make it perfect." Sofia nodded, swallowing the exhaustion that lived permanently in her bones. She'd learned not to speak unless spoken to. Learned to make herself small. Learned that women like her, immigrants, poor, alone, were only noticed when they made mistakes. The ballroom on the 47th floor took her breath away despite herself. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan. Tables set with china that probably cost more than her rent. Flowers everywhere, white roses, elegant, cold. She was replacing the towels in the private restroom when the dizziness hit. The heat. The exhaustion. The fact that she'd skipped breakfast again to save money. It all crashed over her at once. The room tilted. Her vision spotted black. She stumbled into the ballroom, her hand reaching for something, anything, to steady herself. That's when she heard them. Men's voices. Low, dangerous, speaking rapid Italian. She should leave. Should disappear. But her legs wouldn't cooperate. "Water," the word scraped out of her throat. "Please." The laughter started immediately. A woman in a maid's uniform, begging at their private meeting. The absurdity of it. The audacity. One man's laugh rose above the rest. Deep, rich, laced with contempt. He was younger than the others, maybe 30, but he commanded the room. His suit was perfection itself. His dark hair was styled with careless precision. His jaw could cut glass. When he turned to look at her, his eyes were winter itself. Cold. Dismissive. Amused by her desperation. "You interrupt a private meeting too." Then she lifted her face. The glass in his hand hit the marble floor. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Every man in the room froze. Because Dante Moretti, heir to the Moretti crime family, terror of the East Coast underworld, the man who never showed emotion, looked like he'd seen the dead rise. "Firefly," he whispered. The word was broken glass in his mouth. Sofia's world went dark as she collapsed. She woke in sheets that felt like clouds. The bed beneath her was larger than her entire apartment. Silk curtains filtered golden afternoon light. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Forgot who she was. Then memory crashed back. The ballroom. The laughter. Those winter-cold eyes that had somehow recognized her. "You're awake." Sofia's head snapped toward the voice. He sat in an armchair by the window, perfectly still, watching her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. The amusement was gone. Now there was something darker. Something that looked almost like pain. "The doctor checked you," Dante said, his voice carefully controlled. "Severe dehydration. Exhaustion. When did you last eat?" She sat up too fast, the room spinning. "I need to go. My shift, my supervisor will." "Your supervisor has been informed you're taking a sick day. Paid." Sofia's hands clenched in the expensive sheets. "I don't need charity." "It's not charity." He stood, and the movement was predatory. Controlled power. He crossed to the bed in 3 strides. "It's an explanation. You're going to tell me how Sofia Martinez, who died in a fire in Medellín 20 years ago, is cleaning toilets in my hotel." Her blood turned to ice. "You have me confused with the scar above your left eyebrow." His hand moved before she could stop him, his fingers tracing the thin line with devastating gentleness. "You got it when you pushed me out of the way of falling debris. You were 8 years old. I was 10. You saved my life and nearly died doing it." Tears burned behind her eyes. She jerked away from his touch. "That girl is dead." "Clearly not." His jaw clenched. "I mourned you. For 20 years He stopped, something raw flashing across his face before the mask slammed back into place. "You're going to tell me everything, starting with why you're here." "I came for work. I didn't know this was your hotel. I didn't know you were—" She gestured at him, at the luxury surrounding them. "This. The Morettis moved to New York when I was 12, he said flatly. "After the fire. After I lost everything that mattered." The weight in those words nearly broke her. "I can't be here," Sofia whispered, swinging her legs off the bed. "You're dangerous. This world you're in, I can't." His hand caught her wrist. "Not hard, but immovable. You're not going anywhere until we talk." "There's nothing to talk about." "Nothing." His laugh was bitter. "You let me believe you were dead. You've been in my city for 3 years, struggling, and you never—" He stopped, his grip loosening. When he spoke again, his voice was softer. "Dangerous in a different way. Stay for dinner. Just dinner. Then if you want to leave, I won't stop you." Every instinct screamed at her to run. But his eyes, those eyes that had been her best friend's eyes before violence and power had turned them to ice, held something she couldn't name. "One dinner," she heard herself say. The smile that crossed his face was devastating. "One dinner, Firefly." The nickname shattered something in her chest. Dinner was served in his penthouse suite, not the hotel restaurant. "Too many eyes," he'd said, and Sofia didn't know if that made her feel safer or more trapped. The table was intimate. 2 place settings. Candles. Wine that probably cost more than her monthly salary. She'd refused the dress his assistant offered, "I'm not your doll," and sat in her cleaned uniform, chin high despite her fear. Dante had removed his jacket. His white shirt was unbuttoned at the collar, revealing the edge of a tattoo that snaked up his neck. He moved with the grace of a predator, pouring her wine with hands that she knew, from whispered hotel gossip, had killed men. "Tell me about Medellín," he said. Not a request. A command wrapped in silk. Sofia took a sip of wine to steady herself. "There's nothing to tell. The fire happened. I survived. You left. I stayed. For 20 years? I had family. Until I didn't." She met his eyes. "Then I came here for a better life. Turns out, better is relative." His jaw tightened. You've been cleaning my hotel for 3 years. I've been surviving. There's a difference. Why didn't you come to me? The question was raw, angry. If you needed money, work, anything. Because you're a criminal. The words hung between them like smoke. The hotel staff whispers about you. The Moretti family. What you do. What you are. She leaned forward. I survived one violent world. I won't walk into another. Something flickered in his eyes. Hurt? No. Men like him didn't feel hurt. You think I'm a monster. I think you're dangerous. There's a difference. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. Smart girl. He refilled her wine. But you're wrong about one thing. You're already in my world. The moment you walked into that ballroom, you became part of it. Fear spiked through her. Is that a threat? It's reality. He leaned back, studying her. My enemies will know about you by tomorrow. The woman who made Dante Moretti drop his glass. Who made him look like he'd seen a ghost. That makes you interesting. And in my world, interesting is dangerous. Her hands trembled. Then let me disappear. I'm good at it. No. The word was absolute. You'll stay under my protection. Move into one of my secure buildings. Let my people. I'm not your possession. She stood, the chair scraping back. You can't just decide. He was around the table before she could blink. His hands framed her face with devastating gentleness. I lost you once. I won't do it again. Her breath caught. This close, she could see the boy she'd known beneath the dangerous man. Could see the pain he kept locked behind that icy exterior. Why do you care? She whispered. After 20 years, why? Because you were the last good thing in my life before it all went to hell. His thumb brushed her cheek. Because I've built an empire on violence and blood, and the only time I ever felt human was when I was with you. Because... The explosion rocked the building. The windows didn't shatter, bulletproof, but the force of the blast threw Sofia against Dante's chest. His arms wrapped around her instantly, his body a shield as he dragged them both to the floor. "Stay down," he commanded, his voice transformed. No longer the boy from her past. This was the mafia boss, the killer, the man who ruled through fear. His phone was in his hand. "Report." Sofia couldn't hear the response, but she saw his face turn to stone. "Lock down the building. Find them. I want them alive." He ended the call and looked at her. Car bomb. Parking garage. 2 dead. Her stomach turned. "Your enemies?" "The Bratva. Russian mob." His hand cupped her face, checking for injuries with clinical efficiency. "They're sending a message. Saw you with me. Decided your leverage. Oh God. Listen to me." His eyes locked onto hers. "I'm going to keep you safe. But you need to trust me. Can you do that?" Every rational thought screamed no. But when she looked into his eyes, she saw the 10-year-old boy who'd shared his bread with her. Who'd protected her from older kids. Who'd cried when his father hit him and only let her see. "Yes," she whispered. Something shifted in his expression. Softened. "Come on. We're moving." The next hour was chaos orchestrated into deadly precision. His men, terrifying in their efficiency, swept her into a black SUV. Dante sat beside her, his hand never leaving hers, while they drove through Manhattan with a convoy that looked like a military operation. They ended up at a compound outside the city. High walls. Armed guards. Technology everywhere. "This is one of my safe houses," Dante said, guiding her inside. "You'll stay here until the threat is neutralized." The interior was stunning. modern, luxurious, but clearly designed for defense. She saw the panic room, the cameras, the weapons. "How long?" she asked. "As long as it takes." He poured her whiskey, pressed it into her shaking hands. "I'm sorry. This is my fault. If I hadn't reacted in that ballroom, if I'd controlled myself." "You saw a ghost," she said softly. "I understand." "Do you?" He stepped closer. "Do you understand that seeing you alive felt like someone reached into my chest and restarted my heart? That for 20 years I've been half dead, going through motions, building power because there was nothing else? And then you appeared, and suddenly I remembered what it felt like to want something more than revenge and control." Her breath caught. "Dante." "I know what I am," he continued, his voice rough. "I know the blood on my hands, the things I've done. But God help me, Sofia, I'm not letting you go. Not again. Not ever. You can't just decide. I love you." The words stopped her heart. "I've loved you since we were children. I've loved your ghost for 20 years. And now that you're here, alive, real, I'll burn the world down before I let anyone take you from me." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "You don't know me anymore. I'm not that little girl. No. You're stronger. You survived. You fought. You're magnificent." His hands framed her face. "Tell me you feel nothing. Tell me there's nothing left of what we had, and I'll arrange for you to disappear. New identity, money, safety. I'll never contact you again." She should say it. Should lie. Should protect herself from this dangerous, beautiful, broken man. Instead, she kissed him. The kiss was everything. 20 years of grief, longing, and desperate hope colliding in a moment that felt like coming home and falling apart simultaneously. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Dante rested his forehead against hers. "Stay with me," he whispered. "Not because you're in danger. Not because I'm ordering it. But because you want to." Before she could answer, his phone rang. The sound was jarring, violent. He answered with a curse. "What?" His face went dark. "When? How many?" "I'm on my way." He ended the call and looked at her with something like agony. "They found your apartment." Her blood turned to ice. "What?" "The Bratva. They're looking for leverage. They—" He stopped, his jaw clenching. "They think you're important to me." "They're right. I have to. There's nothing there. Just—" She stopped, her heart sinking. "My photos. The only pictures I have of my mother." She saw the decision form on his face before he spoke. "We're getting them. It's too dangerous. Then I'll be dangerous right back." He was already moving, grabbing his jacket, his gun. "You stay here. I'll bring them to you." "No." She caught his arm. "If you're going into danger because of me, I'm coming with you." "Absolutely not. Dante." She made him look at her. "Together. Like when we were kids. You don't face it alone, and neither do I." The war on his face was visible. Every instinct demanded he protect her by locking her away. But she saw the moment he remembered the girl who'd pushed him out of harm's way. Who'd always stood beside him, not behind him. "Together," he agreed. "But you follow my lead. Understand?" The drive back to the city was tense. 4 SUVs. Armed men. Dante's hand never left hers, his thumb tracing patterns on her palm that she remembered from childhood. Their secret language. "I'm here. You're safe. We'll be okay." Her apartment building looked normal. Quiet. Too quiet. 3 hostiles inside. One of his men reported through an earpiece. Waiting. Dante's smile was cold. Then let's not keep them waiting. What happened next happened fast. Dante's men moved like shadows, precise and deadly. Sofia stayed close to him, her heart hammering as they climbed the stairs. She heard the confrontation, raised voices, gunshots, then silence. When they entered her apartment, 3 men were on the floor, disarmed, surrounded. The Bratva soldiers glared at Dante with hate. "Tell Volkov," Dante said softly, "that if he comes near what's mine again, I'll dismantle his organization piece by piece, starting with him." Then he turned to Sofia. "Where are the photos?" She retrieved them from under her mattress, a small box of memories. Her mother's smile. Her childhood. Proof that she'd once had a life filled with love. As they left, Dante's men staying behind to clean up, Sofia realized something. This man, this dangerous, powerful, ruthless man, had risked everything for photographs. For her memories. For something that mattered to her. Back at the safe house, as dawn painted the sky pink, they sat together on the balcony. She leaned against his chest, his arms wrapped around her, and felt something she hadn't felt in 20 years. Safe. Home. Found. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Of this world. Of losing you again. Of everything." "Good," he said against her hair. "Fear keeps you alive." "But Sofia, I'm terrified too. Terrified of failing you. Of my world destroying you. Of not being enough." She turned in his arms. "You're enough. You've always been enough. Then stay. Build a life with me. Let me give you everything I couldn't when we were children. Safety. Comfort. Love. What about the danger? I'll handle the danger. That's what I do." His smile was soft. "You just handle me." She laughed, the sound surprising them both. "You're not exactly easy. Neither are you, Firefly." He kissed her forehead. "Neither are you." 3 months later, the Bratva threat was neutralized. Dante's enemies learned what happened when they threatened what he loved. The lesson was brutal and absolute. Sofia moved into the penthouse. Not as his possession, but as his partner. She started taking online classes. Started rebuilding the dreams she'd buried under survival. And every morning, Dante poured her water. Fresh, cold, perfect. A reminder of the day she'd begged for a drink and found her future instead. 2 years later, Sofia stood in front of a mirror, adjusting the simple but elegant dress. Behind her, Dante appeared, his reflection joining hers. "Ready?" he asked. She turned, taking in the man who'd gone from her childhood friend to her savior to her partner. His world was still dangerous. Probably always would be. But they'd built something real in the middle of chaos. Something that felt like the home they'd both lost so long ago. "Ready," she said. At the small ceremony, just trusted friends and family, Dante slipped a ring on her finger. The diamond caught the light, but Sofia was more focused on his eyes. Those eyes that had been cold winter when she first saw him again. Now they were warm. Alive. Human. "From ashes," he whispered, their private vow. "We rise," she finished. Because that's what they'd done. 2 survivors who'd lost everything. Who'd found each other again in the last place either expected. Who'd built something beautiful from the ruins of their past. Later, as they danced alone on the penthouse balcony, the city lights spreading below them like fallen stars, Sofia thought about the girl who'd begged for water. Who'd been invisible, desperate, alone. That girl was still her. But now she was also more. Loved. Protected. Home. "What are you thinking?" Dante asked, pulling her closer. "That I'm glad you saw my face," she said. His laugh rumbled through his chest into hers. "Best moment of my life. Firefly. Best moment of my life. And so our story ends. If you connected with this journey, leave your like and share with someone you think will enjoy it too. More stories are coming. We'll see you in the next one.